Hi, I'm Kyle from Roland, and today we're briefly going to chat about why choose Roland. Let's talk about the history of Roland pianos. Not many people know this, but they've actually been building digital pianos since the early 70s. Even someone like Elton John was performing on the first RD1000 at Wembley Stadium. And that's basically 50 years in the business, and they've just gotten better and better as time has gone on. The first thing that makes Roland pianos special is their supernatural technology. Well, what does that actually mean? How does it apply to you, the person who's on a journey to buy your first digital piano? Well, to cut a long story short, even for someone like myself, the best digital piano that I can get my hands on is the one that is closest to an acoustic piano, which is what I learnt my craft on. Now, an acoustic piano is obviously made up of many physical parts. First among which is obviously the mechanism for the key. When you play an acoustic piano, you depress the key, and the second half of that key at the back moves, triggers the mechanism which moves the hammer forward, which strikes the string, and that's how you get the sound on an acoustic piano. When it comes to capturing the sound, that's really what sets Roland apart from everybody else. Firstly, most manufacturers, when they capture the sound of an acoustic piano, they'll only capture every 4th, 6th, or 8th note, and then manipulate those samples in order to get it to the correct pitch, because that way it doesn't use up too much memory. Now, with Roland, they record every single key. Some of you will be more familiar with the term sample. They sample every single key. So that already makes it harmonically a lot more realistic, a lot richer, and ultimately a lot closer to an acoustic piano. Then you've got your dynamic range. Now, this is yet another way in which supernatural is awesome, because again, when it comes to other manufacturers, they will record this note four times. And all the other velocities or dynamics in between, they will just sort of simulate or generate. Now, what Roland does is they sample not just every single note on the piano, but they sample each key 127 times. So you can go from very, very soft to very, very loud. Now, we've spoken about the fact that each key is sampled. We've spoken about the fact that each key is sampled 127 times instead of just 4. And the third part of this equation that sets their pianos apart is the fact that when they sample the key, it's sampled for the full length. So normally a note is sampled for 4 or 5 seconds, and then that sample is looped, and they just kind of adjust it in terms of the volume so that it slowly decays. What Roland does is they will sample until the actual note stops sounding. Now, when you combine full-length samples with 127 samples per key, with the fact that every single note is sampled, you get a very rich, warm, responsive playing experience. Where the piano responds to every single dynamic and makes you feel like you're one with the instrument. We've spoken about the feel, we've spoken about the sound. I would like to jump in a little bit more into the key mechanism. On an acoustic piano, when you strike the note, that hammer moves forward, hits the string, and then has to move out of the way so that the string can actually sound. Most people don't know it, or even realize it, but the truth is that when you're playing an acoustic piano, you can actually feel in the key the hammer moving back from the string so that the string can ring out. Roland's pianos have got escapement built into it. So if I depress the key really slowly, about halfway down, I'll feel the virtual hammer moving away from the string. It's super important because if it's realism and authenticity that you're after, then escapement is just that sort of next level up. So in terms of feel, in terms of sound, Roland's got it covered. But we do also live in a world of constant technological advancements, and also music in general is now part of the technological world. Not just in terms of different genres, but in terms of the actual tech itself. You've got hundreds of different sounds on the piano, from EPs to strings, the ability to use two sounds together at the same time. And you could split that as well. So if you wanted one sound on the left hand and another sound on the right hand, you can do that. You have the piano designer. This takes your piano customization to a place where you will be able to get the piano that you want, or more importantly, the piano that you're familiar with, by adjusting things like key touch, string resonance, damper resonance, soundboard resonance, ambience, the type of tuning, the amount of hammer noise, the list goes on and on and on. But ultimately, the point is that it's completely customizable. You've got your standard features like metronomes built in, etc. But things like the piano designer, supernatural, loads of different sounds, and just the ability to customize this piano, which has already got such an advanced keyboard action and sound engine, that's what Roland's about. Thinking ahead, being ahead of everybody else, and most importantly, and I can say this because I'm a musician myself who's been playing Roland for 25 years. Roland's pianos are pianos designed by musicians. And you see it in everything they do in terms of the thinking and the culture. Now for me, something that they've gotten really right recently is the introduction of the Roland piano app. Now they have had other apps previously, but the new Roland piano app is a game changer, because ultimately what it does is your phone connects to the piano, or your piano connects to the phone, either way around, and you can control everything from the touch screen on your phone. From things like master volume, to the metronome, gives you a choice, traditional, digital, depending on what you're more comfortable with. So that's what your digital looks like. That's what your traditional looks like. And there you go. If I go into my piano settings, as I said, everything from master volume to key touch to master tuning, brilliance, transposition, ambience depth. That's another Roland specific feature, is the headphone 3D ambience. What does that mean? It means that when you plug in a set of headphones, it still feels as if you're playing in a big open room. And that is actually really cool, because it means that you're gonna have no difference essentially in terms of sonic experience between playing using the onboard speakers or playing with the headphones on your head. And when it comes to the cabinet itself, another big deal as far as Roland is concerned is something called acoustic projection. Basically what that means is that all of the speakers, and there are many of them, 8 speakers in the premium upright models, and they're all time delayed and positioned in a certain way so that when you're sitting at the piano and playing, it is exactly the same experience as playing an acoustic piano. If you sit and you play with your eyes closed, between the feel and the sound and the response and the dynamics and the quality of the samples, it really is the best that you can possibly get, and it is the most technologically advanced. Right through to your pedals, there are 3 of them. But these pedals are not just on and off switches like you might find on some of the other digital pianos. All of these pedals are progressive in terms of the way that they respond. There's other simple features like auto-off functionalities, that if you leave your piano on by mistake, it'll switch itself off. If you want something that's more aesthetically pleasing, you don't want to see all of the buttons, no problem, they've got you covered there as well. So just to recap, between supernatural things like the continuous response on the pedals, the advanced keyboard action with escapement, ivory feel keys, the Roland Piano app, the piano designer, this really is designing the future.